right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for coming out and being with us today. We have had such a fun week at the Kentucky Imaginarium, a partnership between the Carnegie Center and the Balagula Theater. Your kids are so resourceful and so talented. We have been spending this week learning all about how to tap our own creative voices, how to tap our voices as Kentuckians and as people who live in Kentucky, and combining our self-knowledge, our newfound knowledge of history and Kentucky stories, into taking world folk tales from our 4 sister cities in Japan, Ireland, France, and what is the country?
England.
And England, thank you. It's the new one. But we've taken, we have sister cities across the world, which is a way of our community forming permanent bonds with other communities and exchanging ideas and stories and making sure that we're not lots of little cultures that have nothing to do with one another, but instead we're one great big culture with lots of complexions and personalities in it. And it's been really marvelous. Your children have lots of complexions and personalities, and they are very complex, I assure you. They have had such a good time this week learning about one another, writing down their histories, their stories, and today we've taken 4 stories from those other countries and given a uniquely Kentucky spin on them. In our first one, Mr. Bourbon, which is based on the English story Mr. Vinegar. It is the story of a man who makes unwise trades. In the original, he finds 40 guineas, which he buys a beautiful cow with, and then he trades it for bagpipes, and then for a set of gloves, making infinitely bad trades down. We would like to caution your children not to make trades like this. In our story of Mr. Bourbon today, you will see how we have taken a uniquely Kentucky look at these topics. And without further ado, I give you the wonderful performers of Mr. Bourbon.
Mr. and Mrs. Bourbon lived in a bourbon bottle. One day, when Mr. Bourbon was away from home, Mrs. Bourbon, who was a very good housewife, was busily sweeping her house, when an unlucky thump of the broom brought the whole house clitter-clatter about her ears. In an agony of grief, she rushed forth to meet her husband. On seeing him, she exclaimed,
"Oh, Mr. Bourbon, we're all ruined. I've knocked the house down and it's all to pieces."
"My dear, let us see what can be done. Here's the door. I shall take it upon my back, and we shall go seek our fortune."
They walked all that day, and at nightfall entered Ruparina. They were both very, very tired, and Mr. Bourbon said,
"My love, I shall climb up into the stairs, drag up the door, and you shall follow."
He accordingly did so, and so they both stretched their weary limbs on the door and fell fast asleep. In the middle of the night, Mr. Bourbon was disturbed by the sound of voices underneath, and to his horror and dismay, found that Rick Pitino and the U of L basketball team had met to steal the national championship trophies. "Here, Jack," said Rick. "Here's 5 trophies for you. Here, Bill. Here's 3 trophies for you. Here, Bob. Here's 4 trophies for you." Mr. Bourbon could listen no longer. His terror was so great that he trembled and shook down the door on their heads. The team scampered away, but Mr. Bourbon dared not quit his retreat till broad daylight. He then scrambled out of the stands and went to lift up the door. What did he see lying there? The 12 national championship trophies.
Mrs. Bourbon, come down, I say, come down. Our fortune is made, come down, I say.
Mrs. Bourbon got down as fast as she could, and when she saw the trophies, she jumped for joy.
"Now, my dear, I'll tell you what you shall do. There's a fair at that neighboring town. Take these 12 trophies and buy a horse. And we can race him at Kingdom, and then we'll be able to live very comfortably."
Mr. Bourbon joyfully agrees, takes the trophies, and off to the fair he goes. When he arrived, he walked up and down and finally saw a beautiful white horse. It was perfect in every way.
"Oh, if I had that horse, I shall be the happiest man alive."
So he offers the 12 trophies, and the owner said that as he was a friend, he'd oblige him. So the bargain was made, and he got the horse and rode it backwards and forwards to show it. By and by, he saw a man playing the banjo. The children followed him about, and he appeared to be pocketing money on all sides.
"Oh, if I had that beautiful instrument, I would be the happiest man alive. My fortune would be made. Friend, what a beautiful instrument that you have there, and what a great deal of money you must me. Or if we're there morning, for sure, there's one for each one. Well, I would like to present it, sir. For a hero party. I don't mind riding for that horse. Done.
So the beautiful horse was traded for the banjo. He walked up and down with his purchase, but it was in vain that he tried to play a tune, and instead of pocketing coins, the boys followed, including laughing and pelting. And poor Mr. Bourbon was getting very tired. As he was leaving the town, he met a man with a little sled.
Oh, if I had that little slugger, I would be the happiest man alive. Friends, what a great and rare and good movable slugger you have that.
Yes, I have used it for many a game and a good friend it has been. But if you have a fancy for it, as you are a friend, I don't mind giving it to you for the banjo.
As he could not play the banjo, he was very happy to make the exchange. And as he grew very big, he saw a UK van coming towards him with a pair of long fingers.
Oh yeah! UK!
What a beautiful pair of foam fingers. If I had those, I would be the happiest man alive.
Yes.
What a capital pair of foam fingers that you have.
Yes, truly. They keep my hands so warm on these November days. Go Big Blue! Yeah!
Well, I would like to possess them.
As you are a friend, I don't mind letting you have them for that Louisville slugger there.
Done.
Mr. Bourbon's hands were so cool that he gladly made the exchange. As he drew near to it, where he had left his wife, he heard a bucket of fried chicken on a poplar tree pulling out his neck.
Mr. Bourbon, you foolish man, you blockheady simpleton. You went to the fair and traded all of this show before for a horse. Then you traded that for a banjo, which you simply cannot play. Then you traded that for a Louisville slugger, which was not worth one-tenth of the money. Then traded that for a pair of foam fingers you could have gotten at any basketball game.
On this, the fried chicken left and left, and Mr. Bourbon, falling into a violent rage, threw the foam fingers at its head, but he missed, and the foam fingers were stuck in the poplar tree. He returned to his wife, filled trophies for his banjo, little slugger with foam fingers, and she instantly gave him such a sound beating that she almost broke.
Ow!
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to switch gears a little bit. We have a second play for you today. I hope that's a wonderful and marvelous surprise for you. Our second play is based on a French folk tale called Quackling, about a very popular duck who runs into three friends, a ladder, a river, and a hive of bees. Now, one thing to tell you about how we worked at this is that we read through the original stories and then made decisions together, I say together, it was really up to the kids, as to what about Kentucky would make an interesting, would put an interesting Kentucky twist on this character, or that character, or this setting, or that situation. So what you're seeing is the editorial brilliance of your children. They decided with Quackling that the main character wasn't even going to be a duck, it would be a Kentucky wildcat named Meowmers. So our next story is called Meowmers, or How a Real Kentucky Wildcat Became the UK Basketball Coach. Are we ready? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Meowmers.